With Assad out of power, Russia, Iran, NATO, and their proxies are all eyeing the region. Not to mention Turkey, the madman, is throwing their hat in the ring. What does this mean for Syria right now, and who is going to shape its future? Yo, welcome back, guys. Glad to have you. Yo, let me know what you guys think. Is Syria heading towards stability, or is this just the beginning of a whole new power struggle? Because with the way we handed Afghanistan over to the Taliban and the way Lebanon is destabilizing, dude, I'm worried we're setting up the region for some more taxpayer donations to Lockheed Martin, man. But you guys let me know what you think. We got a lot of stuff to get into. There's some big changes since we last spoke. Yo, if you guys like the content, please like and subscribe and hit that little notification bell. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Apparently, there are now democracy protests in Damascus right now. I guess people are feeling a little extra breathing room from Assad's mafia government being thrown out. So that's a good thing, right? Let's go ahead and check this out, y'all.
Chanting for democracy and gender equality, hundreds of people gathered in Umayyad Square in central Damascus to demand a secular state and a place for women in post-Assad Syria.
Do you think they could have done that before? I mean, it's pretty cool to see, man. It's pretty cool to see people fighting for their beliefs out here and feeling like they finally have a voice. That part is really cool to see.
I'm here because I feel that all the women and men of Syria should be present. Because for the first time we feel that we have a presence, that we can speak and express ourselves and live.
Yo, look at that dude in the back. Yo, look at this dude in the back, draped in his flag of his country. He's so excited to be a part of this. Man, that's so awesome to see, dude. That makes me feel good, man. It makes me feel good to see people feeling like, hey, civic participation, man. We have a role to play in our country. That part, it really makes you feel good.
Listen to each other.
It was the first protest of its type since rebel group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham toppled longtime dictator Bashar al-Assad. The al-Qaeda-linked group has sought to moderate its rhetoric in recent weeks, but while it's vowed to...
How much y'all trust them to do that? How much y'all trust them to regulate that, not only their rhetoric, but their policies when they're actually in power? I don't think the history of these types of situations playing out bears or bodes well for that, but we can hope. One can hope.
Protect Syria's many religious and ethnic minorities, questions linger over what role, if any, women will play in the country's future government. Earlier this week, a spokesman for the new administration said female representation in ministries or parliament was premature, drawing the ire of many women who feel they should play a central role in building a new Syria.
The Syrian woman should not only be a partner, but she should be the one leading, because it is not.
That's a weird dichotomy. All right, I don't think it needs to. I don't think you need to base who's leading what on what their sex is. I get the frustration. I get and I get how if you're a type A, you're an alpha personality. If someone goes, "Hey, I don't know if you should have a place," they're like, "No, F you. I shouldn't just have a place. I should run it." Maybe that's where they're coming from with that. But maybe that's where they're coming from with that.
Known that in wars men travel and die, and their numbers decrease, and women become the ones who control all aspects of civilian life.
Held in a spirit of defiance, Thursday's protest was meant to send a strong yet simple message to Syria's transitional government.
Yo, that painting looks sick. Check that painting out. That's sick, dude, with the Syrian flag on the cheek. Yo, that's beast.
No free country without free women.
Yo, man. That's cool to see. That's cool to see. You love to see people getting back involved, feeling like they're empowered to be a part of their country, be a part of the voice that's developing, right? Ah, man, you love it. As someone who identifies with the American political experience, right? As someone who grew up and was never interested in sports and really just felt like sports were a distraction from paying attention to civic engagement, dude, it is so awesome to see people around the world being empowered to self-govern, right? I love seeing it, man. Literally, it just gives me a chill down my spine, dude. I love seeing it, dude. Christmas is open, man. Syria, okay? Look, the markets are open in Syria, dude. Yo, man, how awesome is this? How cool is this, dude? People get to go and enjoy. Look at the setup. Look at everything, dude. It's awesome. Yo, what a civil conflict. I mean, really low numbers of death, right? Really, the army just backed off. Assad was flying out of the country. Remember, he was flying over Homs, and then the plane came and they wondered if it crashed, but we were speculating because of the way it slowly, that it might have landed, then they might have taken Assad into custody, and they might have been at the time working out a deal with Russia, and then like what, the next day Russia comes out and says, yo, Assad's in Moscow, right? Yo, such a peaceful transfer of power, man. It really gives you hope for the region, and it's so awesome to see these protests and then see these Christmas markets. Dude, it's so sick, man. I'll just turn it down, yo. But look at this. Look at this. How cool is this, man? How cool is this, dude? Yo, man. People enjoy. Look at them walking around. Yo, they just had a transfer of power in their government. You get what I'm saying, dude? This is wild, bro. Look at all these cars driving around. Like, they back up and running, dude. They back up and running. It feels good to see. It feels good to see, man. Yo, and then on top of that, now we got political moves going, right? Now we got the future of Syria being decided, okay? What's going to happen? Where's Syria going to go? It looks like Russia, it looks like we talked earlier, they're managing at an arm's distance Russia and the U.S. We've got the EU who's now saying, look, we don't want relationship with you if you're not going to cut ties with Russia. You need to, this whole thing, you don't understand. This whole thing is designed to reduce Russia's power in the region. So if you're going to continue having a relationship with Russia, we're going to have to do this all over again. Is basically what the EU is saying to HTS right now.
Delegations from the foreign ministers of Germany, the United Kingdom and France have arrived in Damascus to initiate talks with Syria's new leadership. Notably, French representatives, as a symbolic gesture, raised their flag in the courtyard of the French embassy for the first time since 2012. The European Union has also expressed readiness to reopen its embassy in Damascus. However, EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs Kaja Kallas emphasized that Brussels will pressure the Syrian leadership to address the presence of Russian military bases in the country. Removing this factor will be a key precondition for beginning full-fledged dialogue between the EU and Syria's new authorities.
We can't leave a vacuum in Syria, and we have to avoid the mistakes that we did with Libya, with Afghanistan, and we have to be also there. The future of the country must be Syria-led and Syria-owned and reflect the Syrian people in all their diversity. And I've asked the head of delegation to go to Damascus yesterday to have constructive first contacts with the new leadership and various other groups, also the civil society.
So EU is in there, they're making moves. They said, hey, we want to be a part of the new Syria, all right? And we don't want Russia to be a part of it. You got to pick, all right? You're either friends with us or you're friends with them, all right? That's the EU right now, all right? And in the middle of all this, okay, Damascus police are going through because people have started taking advantage of the situation, looting the cities, taking advantage of the power vacuum right now. And so HTS has now set up a police force to go through, not only try to clean out all the looting and stuff like that, but I guess go through and figure out some of the old records and what the old Assad regime was doing. So let's listen in on that real quick.
One of the biggest fears in Syria after the fall of Bashar al-Assad is the possible descent into chaos and lawlessness. Security structures have collapsed, and Hayat Tahrir al-Sham have been brought in from their stronghold in the north to fill the void. They're led by former dissident police officers and non-commissioned officers who say they are familiar with the work. Abu Yaqeen and his special forces are here to investigate the arson and looting of...
Arson, who burned that down? Who burned that? We don't know what's going on over there. We just know what they're telling us. And Iran is Qatari funded. I mean, they're saying it right there at the bottom, right? But so this is a state, and we know how I'm sorry, Iran, Al Jazeera, and we know how biased Al Jazeera is, right? Historically, right? Not that I completely disagree with their bias all the time, just most of the time. But dude, so we don't know what happened here. We don't know who really burned this down. But I would believe that it was the actual Syrian people. But just to put that in perspective, right? They're showing us what they're showing us.
Of one of the former regime's so-called political intelligence headquarters. This office was in charge of dealing with political dissent, including the arrest, detention and punishment of anyone who opposed the Assad regime. They're trying to find out who set fire to the building and salvage any records.
These are lists of detainees, including some of our fighters, and names of some women. These are decrees and orders showing the criminal regime.
Yo, y'all see how new this materials are? Look at their Nike branded face mask. How much are those Nike face masks? Hold up. They were both the exact same. Nike branded face masks. Look at the sheen. Have these even been washed yet? Look at this crease. Yo, they straight pulled this right out of the box and put it on. What is going on here, dude? What is going on, bro? These, look at we were talking about how military equipped they were. These groups, okay, with the fresh Nike, the Pooh Shiesty mask, dog. Are you kidding me, man? With the brand spanking new, still creased, dude. What? It's weird, bro. This is weirding me out. This whole thing is weirding me out.
Was in touch with terrorist groups, including ISIL and the Syrian Democratic Forces. The regime and the Russians were using ISIL.
The volume of work and the complexity of the task posed challenges, says Abu Ahmed, who spends his day dealing with people with individual complaints.
We handled lots of complaints and arrested many criminals who committed offences such as burglary and car theft. In the first few days, we managed to run this office with nothing. There was no paperwork, no staff, no weapons. All the bureaus and equipment were destroyed, looted, or set on fire.
So they're taking back power. They're starting to establish some rule of law again, and that is good because apparently the Washington Post is reporting that there have been a lot of revenge. Oh shoot! Oh, timestamp. Oops. There have been a lot of revenge, bad things happening. Okay, in Syria right now. All right, and we'll get into it. All right. The woman was clutching her infant, still in dressing gown pajamas she had been wearing all day when fighters overran this village, province of Latakia province in the heartland of Bashar al-Assad's Alawite minority sect. Her scorched home still radiated from heat from the fires. Her husband had since fled. So things are getting crazy. So it's good that they are establishing a police force out there, right, guys? But is HTS even ready to govern right now? Are they ready to govern and handle the task that has been handed to them geopolitically?
Syrian opposition flags fly proudly on the streets of Idlib. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HT, have ruled here for years. Located in the northwest of the country, Idlib province is home to around 4.5 million people, many of them Sunni Muslim.
What I thought was interesting about this is so this is where this new government is coming from, and the power base is coming from, right? Isn't this where the Kurds are? So this is a new Kurdish government, right? I'm hearing that they're friendly with the Christians and everything. I don't know. You guys tell me. I heard that they respect minorities. You guys tell me. What the history is with the Kurds in the region, because I'm not the most educated on that. But I think this is the Kurdish region. So I think this is now setting up a new Kurdish power base. And I know that the Kurds have been frustrated because they feel like they have a cohesive ethnic culture, but they're caught between three different regions. So who knows, man? Maybe this will play out for some more stability in the region, give the Kurds the national identity that they've been looking for. But,
Muslims, Christians and Druze people displaced by Syria's lengthy civil war. HTS was originally linked to Al-Qaeda but cut ties before taking control of most of Idlib in the past 5 years. Since then, they've brought in a civil administration called the Syrian Salvation Government, providing limited services like electricity and water, and formalising the Turkish lira as legal tender.
That's a power move. That tells us a lot. The Turkish lira is now the legal tender of Syria. That might just say everything about what's going on out there.
But they've also been strongly criticised for cracking down on and imprisoning opponents. While their rule appears to have brought relative stability within Idlib, HTS is still designated as a terrorist group by the US and the United Nations. They now face the major challenge of gaining international legitimacy and uniting Syrians beyond Idlib to rebuild the country.
Did they just trade one mafia for another? And this mafia is just now has better relationship with the West, man? Look, with Bashar al-Assad out, what's next for Syria? The long-reigning dictator was overthrown this month, ushering a new era for the Middle Eastern nation torn apart by civil war. A Texas A&M expert explains how it happened and how the U.S. has responded. After more than 2 decades under the rule of President Bashar al-Assad in Syria, the war-torn Middle Eastern nation of 25 million people is under new management. On December 8th, a coalition of rebel forces took over the capital city of Damascus and other regions, sending the former dictator into exile in Russia and sparking hope for an end to the country's decade-plus civil war. For more on these developments, Texas A&M spoke today with Dr. Amy Austin Holmes, an instructional associate professor of internal affairs at Texas A&M University Bush School of Government and Public Service, a former advisor to the U.S. Department of State on Iraq and Syria. Holmes is the author of Statelet of Survivors, a 2024-based book on her 7-year field survey of the Syrian Democratic Forces, one of the key groups involved in operations to overthrow Assad. Holmes explains a number of questions remain about the nation's new direction and the United States' posture towards post-Assad Syria. Why is the end of the Assad regime such a historic moment for Syria? The end of the Assad regime has been likened to 1989 in the Middle East, the collapse of an old order. Assad's family dynasty had ruled Syria for more than half a century, first under Hafez al-Assad, then Bashar al-Assad. The two main backers of the regime were Russia and Iran. The fall of Assad means the loss of Russian influence in Syria, potentially. That's what they're hoping. Similar to the fall of communism in Eastern Europe in 1989. I'm not claiming to have predicted the fall of the Assad regime, but I made the point already in October in interviews with Harvard and Texas A&M that the fact that Russia and Iran were distracted from Syria was an opportunity to resolve the Syrian conflict. What is HTS or Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and how did this group manage to oust Assad after more than a decade of civil war? It's an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. We already know who they are, man. What else is known about as HTS leader? He was born in Syria, 1982, then joined foreign fighters in Iraq in 2003. In 2011, the Syrian uprising turned into a civil war. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of the Islamic State of Iraq, ISI, sent Jolani to Syria to establish the Al-Nusra Front branch of Al-Qaeda in 2017. Then he broke with Al-Qaeda to form HTS. What does this mean for the millions of Syrian refugees who fled the country over the course of the civil war? A lot have already tried returning. According to the UN Refugee Agency, as many as 1 million refugees may return to their home country in the first 6 months of 2025. Several European countries, including Germany and Austria, have announced they will no longer accept Syrians as asylum seekers. That's really quick. That's really quick, bro. What role might the U.S. play in Syria's future? The Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said the U.S. will recognize a Syrian government if it adheres to 4 principles: respect the rights of minorities, facilitate the flow of humanitarian assistance, prevent Syria from being used as a base of terrorism or posing a threat to its neighbors, and ensuring chemical or biological weapons are secured and safely destroyed. On December 16th, President-elect Trump referred to a rebel victory in Syria as an unfriendly takeover by Turkey. We covered that. And it's too early to know what Trump will do. Dude, come on. Trump is not sitting there Turkey's a NATO country. Trump is not friends with Russia. Stop, man. Come on, dog. What will happen to Bashar al-Assad himself now that he's been forced from office? Will a former Syrian leader face trial? High-ranking figures of Assad's regime have already been charged with war crimes. For example, on December 9th, an indictment was unsealed in the northern district of Illinois, charging 2 former Syrian Air Force intelligence officers, Jamil Hassan and Abdul Salam Mahmoud. Mahmoud. I'm sorry, y'all. With conspiracy to commit war crimes through the infliction of cruel and inhuman treatment on detainees under their control, including U.S. citizens. So yes, I am hopeful that they will face justice. Is there anything else people should know about the situation? It's important to understand that the rebel groups have distinct priorities and ideologies. While HTS marched on Damascus and is predominantly Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces, and predominantly the Kurdish forces expelled the Syrian regime from Qashlo and Hasaka, the SNA, guided by Turkey, instead took aim at the SDF, the U.S. partner force that defeated ISIS. The Turkish-Kurdish conflict is playing out in Syria and risks undermining everything that has been achieved since the defeat of ISIS. Right, Madman Turkey's in the mix. They got an issue with the Kurds, and they see this as a great opportunity to resolve it. I could be wrong. You guys let me know, man. But I got something else talking about it. Turkey coming in the mix. Yo, we thought we were ousting Russia. We thought we were the new power in the region. Turkey's got something to say about it. Turkey looks set to play an outsized role in shaping the new Syria after Assad. As the world watches Syria grapple with the aftermath of Bashar al-Assad's brutal regime and the formation of a new government, one country has emerged as having great influence over the new Syria, its neighbor to the north, Turkey. In a press conference Monday, President-elect Trump said he believed Turkey was behind Assad's downfall. Turkey did an unfriendly takeover without a lot of lives being lost. I think Turkey's going to hold the key to Syria. The Turkish government has not publicly commented on Trump's remarks. Yo, they playing their cards close. You can't blame them. You can't blame them. What was Turkey's role in the Syrian Civil War? Before the Syria Civil War erupted almost 14 years ago, Turkey enjoyed stable relations with the country. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Assad got along well, to the extent of their families even vacationed together once. But after Assad's brutal crackdown on peaceful protesters in 2011, Erdogan cut ties and put his intelligence and military resources behind rebel groups fighting Assad. Damn, son. So now I understand why they didn't kill Assad. All right, they were homies. Turkey's goal was, of course, at all costs, unseating Bashar al-Assad, said the political analyst Soli Ozel, who teaches at Kadar Has University in Istanbul. Turkey, a NATO member that shares a long southern border with Syria, opened its doors to the largest number of Syrian refugees of any country, according to the United Nations data, more than 3.7 million in 2021, many of whom were linked with opposition groups under the threat of Assad regime. So they're probably going to put them all back and partly use them to establish their soft power in the region. But 2018, as Assad appeared to be winning the civil war with the help of Russia, Iran and Iranian-backed Lebanese militia Hezbollah, Turkey's position came with a price. It faced domestic and economic difficulties, with the public blaming the Syrian refugees. Wow, so Turkey has a lot to gain between giving the Kurds something, getting these refugees dealt with. Turkey has a lot to gain in the region, guys. Turkey has a lot to gain in the region, and they're making their moves. What kind of influence will Turkey have on the new Syrian leadership? Turkey's already visibly active in Syria. The Turkish embassy in Damascus is up and running, and Turkey's intelligence chief paid a visit to Damascus last week and met with the leader of HTS, Ahmed al-Shara, formerly known by his nom de... I'm sorry, y'all. Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, who is now the de facto leader of the new Syrian administration. Is interviewed with Al-Hadath TV, Fidan said that Turkey has been sending messages from Western and regional countries to the new Syrian leadership in an effort to moderate HTS. The group formed an affiliate of Al-Qaeda in 2011. Turkey, the United States, and the United Nations Security Council have designated terrorist organization, but since the defeating of Assad, the group portrayed itself as moderate. There were certain principles that most parties seem to agree on. These included, preventing terrorists from benefiting from Damascus in the new era, or making sure that whatever group plays ball, right? So it looks like Turkey's got a big role in the new region. We're wondering who's going to control the new region, what it might look like. Well, if Turkey controls it, it might result in some stability. If they choose to give the Kurdish forces some land to carve out, and they can use that to alleviate some of the cultural pressures in the region, it could result in more stability. Or all these different factions could fight for each other in a power vacuum. But either way, it looks like Turkey might be the biggest player in Syria looking into the future, guys. Yo, thank you so much for joining me today. We got one more segment coming out a little later. Yo, if you like the content, please click on any of these videos over here. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day, yo. I'll see you in the next segment, yo.